Hello and welcome to the 1/106th of a second photography podcast. We're in episode 165 and this is called 100 Instagram posts. Now I'm going to share with you some Instagram statistics. I started an Instagram some time ago for street photography and I quite happily put things on there and it was all fine. I wasn't after likes, I wasn't after Instagram success, just wanted to try it out. When the pandemic came, I found I wasn't going out and I just stopped posting to that account. And around that time, I started doing an Instagram just for the podcast. And mainly it was posts about what's coming up, a few bits and bobs, but mainly it was, look, I've done an episode, check it out here, or I've recorded an episode, or what do you think about X, Y, and Z? And I'm going to do an episode. It was promotion, basically, is how I was using Instagram. And today I'm going to share those stats because I'm very close to 100. So we need to think about, was it worth it? I've done 96 posts and I was posting every day for the podcast account for some time. And I had a break from the podcast and I stopped and I never really picked Instagram back up. And why was that? Oh yeah, because it's just extra work, it's more things to do, which I always knew it would be, and that's what put me off doing Instagram for some time. It's another thing to do. So I put the podcast out, I put a link on my Facebook, I put a link on my Twitter, I'm done. But Instagram, it felt like more than that. I felt like I'd have to do more, and I have done more, and I was completely right. So by the time this episode airs on Saturday, I will have 100 posts because I'll make sure I do 4 posts between now and when the episode comes out. And the 100th post will be launching this episode or saying, hey, this episode's out. So for those 100 posts or those 96, I've got 14 followers and I'm following 39 people. So if we think about a ratio of followers to people you're following, that's 0.36 followers per person I'm following. And I will have done 100 posts, so that's 0.1 followers per post. It's not great statistics, it's not great reading, it's not even great listening, is it? Let's go back to my street photography account, which has fared slightly better, even though I've sort of not been bothering to do it, and I've not been chasing anything. So 46 posts there gave me 65 followers, and I was following 176 people. So that works out to 0.37 followers per person I'm following, which is only marginally, negligibly better than the podcast account. However, my average or my ratio is 1.41 followers per post, which is quite a lot better. But what does it matter and what does it mean? So why did I do the street photography account on Instagram? Just to get experience of Instagram. That's the only reason I did it. To understand how Instagram worked, what you needed to do, what worked and what didn't work on Instagram. Well, I think I've got a better education than when I started this, so I've achieved something. Why did I bother doing the podcast Instagram account? Simply to direct people to my podcast. Now, I don't know that it's done that. Certainly, I've made a lot of noise about episodes coming out and things like that, but it's to a very small audience. I don't think it's made the podcast more discoverable. So I think the podcast has done quite well for the amount of promotion I put into it and the challenges I face. And the challenges that I faced are, it's mainly me. It's really difficult to get good quality guests on, and it's really difficult to find the time to go and hunt down good quality guests. I've had some excellent guests on who have been amazing, and I thank them for their time. But to do a weekly thing, unless I've got a sort of a set of friends I can do it with, who want to do podcasts about photography and things, it's really difficult. So I'm really grateful for Ben Morehouse, who did a series of episodes with me. But unfortunately, Ben left the country. Nothing to do with me, I hope. I don't think it was. But I think a podcast does work better when it's a discussion, and it's more of a monologue with me at the moment because I don't have many people to discuss things with. It's really difficult to get on a permanent sort of guest or a second speaker or someone to talk things through with. I mean, now we're always so used to video conferencing, it could all be done over the internet. But it's really difficult. And apart from Ben and at the start Drew, I've not really come across anyone who I felt is suitable. No one's got in contact to ask if I want them to do it. So it's difficult. And so I've certainly made the point about, I do a photography podcast. You can search me on Instagram, search me wherever, but I don't think it's actually increased the I was going to say readership, listenership. I don't think it's increased the numbers, or if it has, it's been so small I haven't noticed. I think things like Facebook, strangely, have been more powerful. I think YouTube has probably been more powerful. The thing with the podcast is it doesn't fit the YouTube at all. It doesn't fit YouTube because it's a long talk, really, and nothing goes on the screen. I put a picture up because really that's all you can do. I've thought about other things I could do. I could have things drawn out slowly. I could have pictures rotate. But when you're doing a 10-minute episode or a 20-minute episode or a 40-minute episode, it suddenly becomes far too time-consuming. And I need to think back to why I started the podcast. It was because I wanted a discussion on photography that wasn't sort of the standard YouTube episode. So I've always thought it doesn't matter about YouTube stats. It doesn't matter about this. It's doing what I want. And Instagram stats, not very good. Facebook likes, not very good. Twitter follows, not very good. YouTube listeners, subscribers, not very good. YouTube listening time, very good. But my biggest stat is the number of listens and the listening hours on the actual podcast, which has done so much better than I thought it would have. So I've digressed. I've talked about stats on other platforms, but thinking about the Instagram stats, now I'm coming up to 100. I do think, well, has it been worth it? What was the point me doing it? Did I achieve anything? And sort of not. I've sort of done it blasé on one account, and I've tried really, really hard to do it on the other account, and the blasé can't be bothered approach has worked out better. I think that tells me something. That approach was mainly photographs. The podcast approach was mainly short videos, mainly sort of episodic templates saying this is coming up and this, and it's so much more video based, or it's a picture that has text in. It's not where I've gone out and taken a picture because I don't have time for that. So the success and failures, or what's worked and what hasn't, has been interesting to find out. But where does that get me? It doesn't really get me anywhere. If I crack the code for Instagram, if I crack the algorithm, and I can't be bothered to do it, or knowing it doesn't get me anywhere, or I know it, but it won't do anything for me, then that's sort of been a failure as well. So I know what works better than something, but clearly I don't know what will send me into the stratosphere. And I think we're all in that. I think some people have said to me, oh, Instagram is saturated. It's really hard to grow an Instagram following now. Yeah, I'd agree. Totally. So I did the podcast one to drive more traffic to the podcast, strangely. And maybe it has, maybe it hasn't. Other benefits. I found inspiration there. I've seen what other people are doing and I thought, oh, that's good. And that's inspired me. And seeing other people, I've discovered other people. Yeah, good. And I've seen trends. Trends come and go. And I'm aware of trends. But I'm not someone who follows trends. So I don't see a trend and think, I must do that. I can see the fashions coming through. I can see things emerging. But I'm not jumping on them because I'm not that way inclined. So those have been the benefits, or the other benefits, other than having 14 followers. And don't get me wrong, if you're one of my 14 followers, I am really grateful for you following me. I'm not moaning about having 14 followers. It's certainly better than having 0. I'm really appreciative of anyone who's followed me. What are the cons of Instagram by the time I get to 100 posts? Well, the time you put into it. It is an instant. You've got to think about it. You've got to plan it out. You've got to do it every day. You've got to do it at the same time every day. You've got to think of things. It takes a good 5 minutes to do an Instagram post, or it was for me, to make a little video, to think about what to put, to think about my hashtags, to then get it from my computer to my phone to post it. 5 minutes. And I'm sorry to say, I've been a little bit jealous of people. I've seen other people succeeding on the platform and been a little bit jealous. Why are they doing well and I'm not? Why they got more follows? Why they got more likes? And I hate that. I hate that about social media, but it's inevitable that it will happen to you. So will I continue with Instagram? Yes. I'd always said once I get to 100, I'll review and I'll make a decision. I won't know whether I'm doing well or if posting every day is the way to go unless I actually do it. So I'll do it for 100 and then I'll see. Posting every day is too much effort for me. I've got a lot of other things to do other than Instagram. Posting once a week, yeah, I can do that. I can post about an episode as it lands. I can post midweek maybe. That's not going to be too difficult. And maybe I don't do videos. Maybe I've learnt that one. Maybe I go out and I take a picture. Again, it's the time thing for me. Having several YouTube channels, a full-time job, a podcast, a family, wanting to do other things as well, etc., etc. So, Instagram, never high on my list. I've learnt a few things from it. I've got some inspiration from it. And I've certainly learnt not to take it too seriously. And I've certainly learnt not to worry about it. So, do let me know what you think of Instagram. How many posts have you done? What have you found? Is it a dying platform? Is it a stale platform? Let me know. I'd love for you to let me know what you think. Love for you to follow me on Instagram, or if you follow me, then I'll know about you and I can follow you, so on and so forth. Not that I'm asking for a follow for a follow. I'm not. I just want to know who's out there and who's listening. Thank you so much. Stay safe, stay snapping, and I'll see you next week.